Hey friends, Dr. Randy Arno here with Headstrong Coaching. I'm a licensed psychologist and I'm here to help you with science-backed strategies to create more happiness, focus, motivation, and passion for achieving your biggest life goals. Now today I wanted to talk for a few minutes about happiness and specifically where do we find happiness? How can we find happiness? And what I want you to do for just a minute is take a moment, think about how happy you are right now. Do you feel like you could be happier in the future than you are right now? You feel like you're as happy as you're ever going to be? For you personally, what do you feel like needs to happen for you to reach that higher level of happiness or satisfaction with your life? In other words, if you feel like you're not quite as happy as you could be, what is it that you need to achieve or attain to reach that higher level of happiness? Now, when you ask people this question, you get a lot of different responses, but people may say, well, I'll be happier when I graduate, if they're a student, for instance. I'll be happier when I get my degree. I'll be happy when I get a good job. I'll be happy when I get promoted, when I get a raise, when I'm able to make more money. I'll be happy when I'm able to move into a better neighborhood. Maybe you're focused on relationships, so your response may be, I'll finally be as happy as I possibly can be once I get married or once I have kids. Maybe if you're married with kids, you'll finally be happy when you no longer have kids that you have to take care of. Maybe you feel like you're going to finally be happy when you retire. So there's a lot of things people tend to sort of bank on in terms of improving their happiness. And whether it's acquiring certain things, attaining certain skills, achieving certain goals, and getting things that you want. Now, the interesting thing is all of those things that I just mentioned, those are all circumstances. Now, obviously, some of those are life circumstances that are under your control to a certain extent. Some of them may be not under your control. And so I have a question for you. If you had to guess, what percentage of our happiness is due to our circumstances? What we've attained, where we live, what we have, what skills we have. Think about it for just a minute. If you have to think about what degree is our happiness based upon our circumstances, how much do you think it is based on scientific research? And there is lot of scientific research on this. So here's the interesting thing that may be a little bit shocking to you. 10%, roughly 10% of our happiness is due to our circumstances. 10%, a teeny tiny bit. And yet a lot of people really, put a lot of focus on attaining those goals and really have strong feelings and predictions that they're going to be much happier once they achieve those circumstances. But given that it's only 10% of our happiness, the belief that happiness comes from external circumstances really is a myth. And it's a harmful myth for a lot of people because it sets up a cycle where, we keep chasing the next goal and the next achievement. And that's awesome to have goals and achievements. I'm not saying that, but to put all of our energy into thinking those things will finally make us happy is really a myth. Because what happens is once we achieve them, we are really, really much happier for a brief period of time. And then that happiness sort of fades back down to where we were before. There was some studies done even on this with marriage where, most people feel like, oh, they're going to be very happy once they get married. And sure enough, once people get married, the happiness of both partners increases. But within a few months to a year or so, the research shows their levels of happiness get back down to about where they started. So, what else accounts for happiness? First, I'll tell you a little bit of the bad news, but it's not all bad. About 50% of our happiness is due to biology and genetics. It's something that's called happiness set point. That's a lecture talk for another time. But roughly about 50% is due to personality traits and predispositions that are stemming from biology and neurotransmitters and genetics. But here's the good news. Where's the other 40%? 10% circumstances, 50% biology, 40% of our happiness, and this is what the research shows, is due to our intentional activities. Things that we choose to do on a day-to-day basis. That includes activities, behaviors, habits, practices, etc. Things that we choose to do in terms of our work, what we do with our time, and even our thoughts. Our thoughts, how we engage our thoughts is also an intentional activity. So that leaves a whole lot of room for changing happiness. We can't do anything about our biology, but we can certainly do something about our intentional activities and behaviors and happiness. So in light of this, going back to the original question, how do you find happiness? Well, actually, the idea that happiness can be found is really a myth. We don't find happiness, we create happiness. You create happiness. Now, it does take intentional effort, it takes some dedication, and it may take, the development of some good habits and maybe some learning some ways to let go of some bad habits. But there are certain things that we can do in terms of changing our thoughts, changing our behaviors, our habits, our behaviors, which can make a huge difference in improving our sense of happiness, sense of satisfaction with our life. Now, what types of behaviors and habits? There are a lot of them. There's been a lot of research done on this in at least the past several decades. The types of behaviors and habits that create the conditions for a happier, more satisfying, more productive life is currently my primary mission for Headstrong Coaching, teaching what those behaviors and habits are. So, in future videos, which I'm going to be doing at least a couple of videos a week, so stay tuned for a couple days for the next video, I'm going to be focusing on this for the foreseeable future. Right now, teaching the behaviors and habits in a practical way that are science-based, that improve happiness. That's my primary mission for Headstrong Coaching. And in addition to teaching you these practical science-backed methods that you can take action on in your life pretty much immediately, I'm also going to be sharing my personal experiences in this area and offering some of my own personal insights based on my own struggles in this area in cultivating happiness and life satisfaction. So I can kind of give you the personal side from the point of view of somebody who has struggled in some of these areas and also used these methods that I'm going to be teaching to deal with those struggles and setbacks. So hope you have found this helpful. Do me a favor, please, and like this video, share this video to your Facebook profile, maybe tag 2 or 3 friends that you think might find these upcoming videos useful. And with that, I will see you all next time.